Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're finally going to be starting my little project that I really have been wanting to start, and I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous because it has to do with this. It has to do with this. You've probably seen the title already, but it is called, I had a really hard time naming this because I got this idea from a website, or not a website, but a YouTube group that my husband and I watch called Good Good, and it's called Good Good Golf, and they do this thing called the Wheel of Not Ideal, and it like gives them a random golf club. It's really funny. So I was like, ooh, that's a really like good idea. So I kind of want to do that for books because I've noticed that I have a lot of like intimidating books that I just am not getting to. I'm buying, but I'm not getting to them. So I decided to create the Wheel of No Appeal. I will say there are a couple like good things on here I just haven't picked up yet, but mostly it is it's not good. It's not good. These are books I don't see myself picking up unless I'm like forced to do it. I'm a mood reader. It's never gonna happen. So I was like, okay, once a month, maybe even twice. If there's a DNF, I'll probably spin it again. Because I will DNF. If I don't like the book, I will DNF. This isn't like a forced read. I will DNF it. But I will spin again in the same video and read something from the freaking thing. So these videos could be super long if I just hate everything. I could have no books left. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea, is we're gonna spin hopefully once a month and get through some of these big books. And I'm so intimidated because I put some on here and I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Obviously, red is the worst. And of course there's 4 of them. There's 4 red spots. I noticed that when I was running them in. There's 2 of everything else, I think. Yeah, there's 2 of everything else and there's 4 red. So yeah, the red ones I don't want. Yellow, same thing. Those are more difficult picks. Green are good. Green are the ones that I've had for a little bit. I just haven't picked it up, and for some reason I pick something else over these books. But I'll be happy if they land on that, because normally they're going to be shorter books, or I really do actually want to read them. Light purple is kind of like a mix. Like, I want to pick it up, but there's certain reasons why I don't at the same time. And then dark purple and light blue are still, like, again, they're all books that I have, so I want to read them. It depends on like degrees of wanting to read. So let's go through what is on this wheel. My handwriting is also like absolutely atrocious. So, okay. So starting with one of these reds, Babel. If I get Babel on the first spin, I'm gonna lose it. I'm going to lose it because that's probably the one I least want to read on this list because I'm scared of it. I know people said it's like amazing and it's actually not as scary as it seems, but I still don't want to do it. Okay, then we have Hester. I really do want to read this one. It's definitely out of my comfort zone, so I just keep putting it off. Jackal. This was a book I actually was really excited to read, but then people are reading it that I watch on BookTube and aren't really like super enjoying it, so I was like, crap. And then I started putting it off. So that's why it got on this list. Some of them look backwards and it's really confusing. And okay, my next red one, Empire of the Vampire. Mostly it's on her because it's really, really long, and I know J. Kristoff books like are emotions, are just straight up emotions. So this book will take me forever to read if I get that. But my goal is to finish it like in January. So these might come out like the last week of January, but they need to be done. The next one is The Devouring Gray. This is one of my green spaces. I really, really want to read this one, so I would be super excited and call it a win if I got that one. The Rules of Magic is one of my dark purple spots. This one is complicated because I already picked it up, and I loved Practical Magic. I loved that book, but I didn't feel the same connection for the second one, and I don't know if it's because I read it so quickly after the first one that I just put it down and I was like, this is just not as good as Practical Magic. So I put this on here because it's like I really think I'm gonna love it, but I just have no desire to pick it up. Yellow. Yellow is definitely like, we're in the danger zone. Not red, but we're in the danger zone. And it's The Jasmine Throne. I have a really bad feeling that one may be a DNF. So I'm like really nervous about getting that one. And I have really low expectations because it's a long fantasy book, and sometimes that can go either way for me. The next one that's in red is Lessons in Chemistry. It's gonna make me cry. It's way out of my comfort zone. I don't see myself picking it up unless it's on here. Legendborn is one of my light purple spots. Again, mostly just because it's really freaking long. I don't pick up long books by choice. I like short to the point kind of books. So when I saw Legendborn, when I got it, I was like, why are you so long? Why are you so long? Okay, and then one of my light greens, or light blue spots is Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I would be fine getting this one. It's just so, for some reason, it's intimidating me. I don't know why, but it is. My last red spot is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Another one I'm really, really scared about, and I bought it as a cover buy. The cover's so pretty, I ended up getting it for the cover. I know it's gonna make me cry. There's a very big possibility I won't like that one, so that's why it's on the red spot. All the red ones are possibilities of me, like, really not liking and having zero motivation to pick up. My other green spot is History of Wild Places by Shea Ernshaw. I am so excited to read this one. I just keep putting it off because her other 2 books that I read were 5 stars. So this is kind of a, if I read this, it's got to be a 5-star or I'm going to be horribly disappointed. So that's why this is on here. So that's why it's a green spot, because I feel like it's going to be a win, but I'm too nervous to pick it up. And then dark purple spot is Threadneedle. This one is on here because, again, it's just long. It's long, and it seems like it's bordering on higher fantasy, so I'm not sure about that one. That one's going to be an iffy one when I pick that one up. And my last spot is a yellow spot, and it is The Lost Apothecary. I feel like it's a weird one to have on a yellow spot, but I have it there because I've actually tried to read it before. And I'm torn whether it's because I was in a certain headspace while reading it or I just didn't like it, but I was unwilling to part with it. So it was a current DNF. So that's why this one's like sus in here, but I still want to read it. So anyway, that is my wheel of no appeal. There are some that appeal to me, just not enough that I'm going to pick them up, which is why I have the green spots. The green spots are wins for me because I have to look at it and be happy with it. I was unsure how I was going to do this because I still don't have like my regular setup, which would be on a table and everything. So this is just how we're going to do it. We're going to give it one big nice spin. Okay, please no red, please no red, please no red, please no. Oh my god, thank god. Thank god. Okay, it looks like our winner is A History of Wild Places. Okay, that could not have gone any better. I was so scared. I was so scared. If it had landed on Babel or Empire of the Vampire, I would have lost my shit. Because right now I'm like reading like lighter stuff and I'm just like, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that, man. And I just read a book that I did not enjoy. So I was like, please don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. Okay, but anyway, we're going to be reading A History of Wild Places. So I am so excited, and I will see you in the next clip. I feel like I'm going to do updates every 50 pages. I don't know like anything about this book other than it's by an author that I really, really like. So we'll see what happens. Okay, I have started A History of Wild Places later than I wanted to. It's actually the next morning. I ended up the rest of the day reading and finishing Talia Hibbert's new book, which I will be doing a book review right after I finish this update. So, anyway, I am at about 39 pages, and I said I was going to update at 50, but how this book works is it's by like sections. So I feel like I'm going to update every section and it's going to be interesting. So this book is actually written by one of my favorite authors, although I feel like this book, depending on how I feel about this, will actually put her into whether she's a favorite author. I've read Winterwood and The Wicked Deep, and both of them are 5 stars. I love them. I love her writing. They're very deep, sad, emotional, I mean, sometimes happy books, but they're just like, they leave an impression, and that's what I really like. And I really, really like her writing style. So that's kind of like why I pretty much immediately pick up any book that she's written, because I have this one and I also have A Wilderness of Stars. This one is her adult debut. I think A Wilderness of Stars goes back to young adult, but anyway, this one is A History of All Places. I've had this one for a while. The reason it was on the wheel was because I was worried I wouldn't like it because it is her adult debut, and she already has 2 5-stars for me, so I'm really nervous and my hopes are like way high for this book, so I've been too nervous to pick it up. Anyway, this book is a bit oddly written. So in the first section of the book, we are following our main character, Travis, who is like a finder. He can pick up objects, kind of like Evie in the Diviners series. He can pick up an object and kind of like relive their last memories. So he is really good at finding people, and he has picked up a case to find this girl, I think Maggie St. James. Yeah, Maggie St. James. She was a children's book writer, although she wrote like really dark and creepy children's books. And the whole first section, called The Barn, which is what I read. I didn't read past that, although I snuck a peek. The whole first section is following him and following her trail. And so he kind of like gives us an idea of where she ended up, and we know that this has to do with some sort of cult. So the back flap basically says he found her, or he found the cult and then disappeared. So I don't think he's in the rest of this book, which is very interesting because I loved the first section, and I'm really concerned that I'm not gonna like the rest of it. So I know that after The Barn, so this is The Barn, part 1. I finished that. And where this one, the next part is called The Farmhouse. And where The Farmhouse picks up, it's totally different characters. It's people that are actually in the cult. And I believe they're going to try and solve the mystery or see what's going on, because the articles that Travis read says it's kind of supposed to be like a peaceful commune, but it's been hidden for 50 years. No one actually knows if it still exists. And he happens to find it based off of Maggie's last moments that he recollects. Like, we don't know if she's actually dead. Like, she could still be alive. It doesn't have to do with people's last moments, but it's like when he has an object of a person, depending on what they're feeling or where they are at that current time, that's what he can like, and he can sift through the memories, which is really cool. So he was able to sift through stuff and get to the point where he found her trail and where the last people knew where she was and followed it to a certain point, and then he disappeared. So the last thing we see is him seeing the like notice for this cult, and then that cuts, and I don't know if we like see it again. So I'm like, oh, I don't know, because first section, amazing, absolutely loved it. I am so sucked into this story. I'm just so nervous because we're about to switch to completely different point of views. So I feel like it's gonna almost feel like 2 separate books, and it looks like we're following multiple characters. Like, now they're broken up into chapters instead of just sections, and it's like one chapter is Theo, the next chapter is Calla. So it sounds like we're gonna have a lot of different characters, and I don't know, I'm really curious where this is gonna go. I'm really enjoying it so far, so I'm really glad that I ended up picking this for my first spin the wheel thing, because like I said, if I had picked Babel or Empire of the Vampire for my very first one, I probably would have given up right away and been like, I don't want to do this. This isn't fun. But so we're having a really good time with those. You're in one of my cabinets right now, by the way, because I just finished cooking dinner. Well, it's still cooking. I still have like 12 minutes in the oven, and it's like an absolute mess back here, but I don't care because I gotta talk about this book. I don't know if I love the direction it's taken. What I was concerned about is basically happening. Like, it switched point of views to 3 members of the commune. And, like, the problem is, the opening section was so good that I'm just like, I want more of that. But the dude's disappeared. Like, he's gone. And they've made it, like, a point that he's been missing for, like, a year, because they like find the truck and it's like there's dust everywhere and everything. So it's been a while since our bro disappeared, and I'm like, okay, so we're definitely not going back to like his point of view. That's definitely not happening. But instead we are following, like I said, 3 members of the commune. 2 of them are sisters, and one of the sisters is blind. The other sister is married to Theo. So it's Theo is married to Calla, and then the sister is Bree. And Kella and Bree both were born in the commune, so they're very, very attached to it and everything going on. And it's like, I'm so confused because the thing about Shay Earnshaw, nothing is as it seems. There's always some sort of like magic or something going on or something strange happening. So I'm like, is the stuff that they're telling the members real, or is it just to keep them in the clearing? Because obviously in the real world there is no rot. Okay, let me go back for a second. Okay, the commune believes that they cannot leave their like plot of land because out there in the real world there's something called the rot, and it gets into you and it kills you, and it's like killing the trees around the commune. So they have like a border. If you pass the border, you have to go through like a ritual cleansing and like all this type of stuff. So the initial thought is, obviously it's a lie. Like we were just in the human world and everyone was fine. But there's something about it that's like, well, what if it's just the woods? And Shay Earnshaw has a thing about woods. The past 2 books that I've read, there's something about the woods and water and nature is alive. So my thinking is like, the world is okay, but the woods surrounding the commune are not, and there is a rot. And it was kind of creepy, like the very end of this section, the blind girl has amazing hearing, and she talks about how she can hear the trees splitting open, and I'm like, so I'm thinking, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's like real. So yeah, because of this specific author, I actually think the rot is real, but not like, yeah. So I feel like the rot is real, just not in like our world, just in like the forest surrounding them. So I'm really curious where that's gonna go. And I don't know how I feel about it, because I definitely did not enjoy the second part nearly as much as the first one. The first one was so good that the second part, like I literally had to get an audiobook for while I was cooking because I could not focus. Like I got through the first part, the first like 40 pages in like less than an hour, and the second part has taken me all day. Like it's 7 o'clock now at night, and it has taken me all day. So I ended up getting the audiobook so I could like speed through it while I was cooking, and I'll probably continue listening to it maybe. I don't know, like I thought this was gonna take me like 2 days to read, and now a little concerned. The writing is still fantastic. It's still Shay Earnshaw. The problem is I'm not loving the storyline, although there are things that are like interesting me. There's just like so much of it just feels like unnecessary, and I don't know, I'm just not loving where it's going. So we're gonna see, and I'm going to keep reading it, and hopefully it picks up. I'm hoping, because like they are trying to see what's going on with the missing guy and the missing girl, and there's something that people know. So I'm hoping we get to that soon, because the intrigue right now is like a 2, and with the first part it was like a 9. So I'm gonna continue and see if it gets any more interesting, because right now I'm just kind of eh. It is early next morning, and I actually definitely could have finished it last night because it has picked up like a lot. I can't tell you if that's a good thing, because I have no idea how I feel about it. I just got to like the big twist of the book, like the big one, and no idea how I feel about it. I had to process it for a little bit. I read a couple like little chapters after, but don't know how I feel about it. It's very odd. It's very, I would say pretty on par for this author in regards to like an adult book. Like, yeah, it's weird. There's weird stuff going on. It's weird. It's so weird. So I'm also surprised, because I saw a lot of reviews when this came out about people being disappointed because people thought it was predictable. And I'm sitting here going, how the hell did you predict that? never in a million years would have predicted that. When it popped up what like was going on, I was like, and I'm sure there's another twist coming because what I just read is like a reveal, but we need to figure out how it got to that point. I'm not talking about spoilers right now. We're going to talk about them at the very end so that you don't, if you don't want to see spoilers for the specific book, you can just stop the video before that. But it's wild. And I also don't want to talk about them yet until I know exactly what's going on, because I'm still like, what's happening? Like, I'm still confused. So this is definitely going to be one of those, I don't even know what I would rate it at this point. It's definitely going to, I feel like the end is going to decide. It's definitely a 3 or up, unless the ending is like really, really bad or really stupid. But currently it's like a 3 or up. I don't think it can be a 5 because of that like 100-page section that I really didn't like. But once I got past that, I couldn't put it down. Like, I read, I think I talked to you after the first section, which was 40 pages, and then I talked after the next section, which I think was about 80 pages, something like that. I am now at 284 of a 350-page book, I think. So I definitely could have finished it last night, but I decided I wanted to stop and talk to you guys first. And it was 1 in the morning, so I needed to go to bed because I was tired. So, yeah, don't know how I feel about it. It's very, very odd. This is a wild book. This is wild. And oh. Okay, I just saw something on the cover. Like, I have the cover, and now I kind of have an idea. Okay, we'll talk about it in spoilers. It's something very specific with the cover, though. Yeah, we'll talk about it in spoilers at the very end. Okay, I finished it. And I think my verdict is this is a 3.5. I'm so sad. I don't know. I just felt so weird about the ending. I didn't love the ending, and I kind of like had a hint from the front of the book. I feel like I've read books similar to this. I feel like there was a lot of plot hole issues with the ending, so I'm just like, So let's talk about it. The book overall was interesting. It was a fun read. I would definitely say the tonal shift between the first 100 pages and the rest of the book was very jarring. I can see people stopping after the first 100 pages because they don't like the shift in it. I can see people like trying a chapter and being like, oh, this is really, really good. And then they get into that second part that changes to the actual commune and it being an issue. Because it was for me. It took me about 100 pages of being in the heads of the commune members to really get into it. Like, it took me a long time, and I really didn't like the setting in that aspect. I didn't like the vibes of the book in that part. Once it started getting into like the meat of the mystery in that section of the book, that's when it started picking up, and I very quickly finished the book after that. It definitely got stuck on those 100 pages after the initial like story. Now, the storyline, I feel like it was weird. Like, I don't know how to explain this without talking about spoilers. It's a really difficult book to talk about because the spoilers really are the point of the whole book. Like, they really are. It changes everything about the book. I'll quickly talk about what I liked and didn't like and then jump right into them. So what I liked our characters a lot. The characters are really good. They were unique. Like, everyone felt very different. I liked how the commune was really interesting because I felt like it was a different take. Like, I immediately thought it was gonna feel like cult-like. And I mean, there definitely were aspects of that, but at the same time, there are communes out there that are not cults. Like, some people just really don't want to live with everybody else. And sometimes when I live in my neighborhood, I have that feeling. I have that feeling where I just want to go out into the middle of the woods and get away from all these crazy people. Like literally, Wednesday night, I heard some revving of cars. I look out, and in our cul-de-sac, some people are doing donuts at midnight on a Wednesday. I was like, what is happening? And I didn't even recognize the cars. I don't even think they live in this neighborhood. So I'm just like, some days I just want to get away. And so I get that. I get it. And I kind of really enjoyed the fact that this commune felt pretty like healthy, minus, the scare going on in the woods around. So I did enjoy that because I feel like it made people face the fact that not all communes are cults. That's just not how it works. Another thing I liked was the mysterious part. The mystery was really good. I actually really, really liked it. I feel like a lot of people guessed it. I don't know how, but I really liked the mystery aspect of this. It felt like mystery, contemporary mystery. I don't know what I would classify this book as at all. I feel like it's just mystery. I don't know, because it's such a weird genre. Like there's even parts of like maybe horror, because I felt like there was almost vibes of like Small Favors, which is a young adult horror, and the woods being potentially alive and weird stuff going on, creepy stuff. But I feel like it didn't lean enough into the horror, so I don't know what I would classify this as. I don't actually know what book of the month classifies it as either. That's interesting. I'll put it down here after the fact. I'll put what they say it is. I would probably classify this as mystery or contemporary fiction, I guess, would be my closest to what I guess this would be. The dog just got down from the bed. I can hear him, and he's unhappy. The other thing that I liked about this was the very end. I like how it wrapped up. I thought it was very different than most like mysteries wrap up. I thought it was very interesting. I feel like it's very interesting, and it definitely challenges a lot of people's opinions on communes. So I thought that was very interesting. I didn't love the twists. Well, the first twist I thought was pretty good. I didn't love the second twist, and I kind of had an idea when it was going to happen, but I did like the end, like where our characters ended up. I did appreciate that. And that's kind of all I can say about it. I did like the pacing as well. I don't know, this book just didn't like vibe with me that much, which is really sad. I wanted more of that ethereal magic feeling. That's what I really wanted from this book, and I felt that in the first like 100 pages when we were following the guy who's trying to find the missing girl. I felt that. I didn't feel it in the rest of the book. The rest of the book felt gritty and dark and just like off, unsettling, and you just feel weird reading it. And that's what I didn't want. I wanted to read something that felt this emotional like gut punch, and everything is magical but just like slightly there, like under, like if you look hard enough you'll find the magic kind of thing. That's kind of how her books are. They feel that way, and I didn't feel that in this book, which is like my major point of liking her books. So yeah, so I feel like the writing was definitely lacking in this one. Okay, let's discuss spoilers. So I'm gonna pop that up here. If you don't want to see spoilers for this book specifically, then I would leave now, because we're going to get into them. There's really only like a couple that I want to talk about. I'm gonna keep it pretty short. First thing that I want to talk about is something that was, I feel like I tried reading into it too much. I really, really wanted the Shay Earnshaw magical place kind of thing going on, and that just wasn't the case. It wasn't the case, unfortunately. There was no rot going on in the woods, nothing like that. I was hoping there was actually going to be rot, and that our characters would like heal it or figure something out to do with it. That's kind of what I was hoping it was going for, and it didn't do that. So that also was kind of a bummer to me, that it really was just a crazy dude convincing everyone that they needed to stay put. That's all it was. That was kind of sad. I feel like that was very un-author-like of this specific author. I feel like there should have been some more magical aspect to it. Our main character, B, is also not blind. She was convinced she was blind. Let's talk about that first. The main twist at the very end is that Levi, our commune leader, who's definitely a cult leader, he is a cult leader. The commune didn't used to be a cult. When he took over, it became a cult. He learned brainwashing. He learned hypnosis. There you go. He learned hypnosis and practiced on B, and actually convinced her she was blind. And the reason she stayed blind is he kept telling her over and over again she was blind. He kept reminding her. So when she finally wasn't around him a lot, she started being able to see. So I thought that was odd. And then we also find out, because of that was actually a revelation later. The first revelation was that our main characters, Calla and Theo, are actually our original characters, Travis and Maggie St. James. I was shocked with that. I don't know how anyone would have guessed that. I was shocked. There's definitely like hints that obviously someone couldn't be living in your house without you knowing the whole time. So obviously it was them. And Levi just made them forget who they were. So I was like, okay. But those are really the only spoilers. It was the place isn't that bad. Levi was the one controlling everything. She wasn't actually blind, and then our main characters are actually alive this whole time. They were just convinced to be other people. I didn't love that. To me, it took all of the magic out of the story, and it kind of just turned it into a generic mystery. Like, if I knew I was reading just a generic mystery by some author, I would be like, okay, this is pretty good. But for some reason, it just really let me down. It really let me down, combined with those 150 pages that I just like slogged through, which is why 3.5 instead of a 4. And actually would round down probably on Goodreads to a 3, which is sad. So sad. But I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. It's just not what I was hoping for. It wasn't what I wanted from a story like this. But I was shocked. When they said that Calla was Maggie St. James and Theo was Travis. I was like, dang, did not see that coming. But I had an idea about the hypnosis because I realized it's an ink blot. It's an ink blot that's like, to me it just looked like smoke, but when you actually look at it, it's a perfect, like, matched on both sides, and it's an ink blot. So I was like, dang. Dang, I can't believe I didn't see that. So yeah, definitely missed that little hint. And there's even like when you look at it, there's ink splotches. So they literally told you what was gonna happen, basically. Anyway, those are literally the only spoilers. I didn't love the hypnosis thing. Like I said, I think it took a lot of magic out of it. I wish there was more magic in this book, and that was my biggest qualm with it. I wish it just felt more like the last 2 books that I read, and that the woods were actually magical. Something was actually going on. Like, maybe the woods didn't have rot, but they were making people forget. Like, the woods are so powerful that they made everyone feel like they were back in the past, or this part of the woods actually brought them back to the past, that they were living in this past version of what they were, and if they leave, they're never seen again because they go back to where they were originally. So that's kind of what I was hoping for. I thought that would have been much more on memo for her, but I still had a fun time with it, and I'm even more nervous now to pick up the next book, which is great. I was kind of relying on this to be a 5 so that I wouldn't be nervous to pick up the other one, but now I'm like extra nervous to pick up the next one. So anyway, this is my first Wheel of No Appeal episode, and I actually got one of my books that had appeal, which is kind of hilarious. But I gotta figure out what I'm going to replace this one with. I don't know what I'm gonna replace it with. I gotta pick something I actually want to read but just keep putting off. So technically, like, they have appeal, but at the same time they don't, because there's other things I want to read more. So I don't know, we gotta figure out what we're gonna add to it. But honestly, had a really fun time. I may do another one of these by the end of the month, because it's only the 6th. I got this done really fast. I read this book in two and a half days. So I definitely think that I may do this again towards the end of January, which is frightening because that means I have higher chances of getting books that I don't want. But it's going to help me clear up my TBR. So I'm enjoying this very much. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe so you catch more of these. Hopefully I do maybe 2 a month, maybe. I don't know. And make sure you, yeah, like I said, I already said subscribe so you see these book reviews, etc. And make sure you like the video. Comment down below what you thought about the book, what you thought about this little idea. If you've read this, what you think I should maybe add to this. If you've seen my haul videos, you know what I have. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.